How hard do you think it would be to forge documents to get all of the Astros players put on a no-flight list? I mean, if that's the only way to save the season. Also, hi, I'm Weston Kaliski, and this is a joke. Please don't sue me into the dirt. Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 28 of the regular season, where the Astros win back-to-back games. I know it was a two-game series, but they swept a team. How about that? 8-2 over the Colorado Rockies, and win both games of the two-game set down in Mexico City. And even with that, they still haven't cracked 10 wins on the season. Bad Weston. Slap on the wrist. Why would you even bring that up? They won multiple games, and, actually convincingly so. They blew them out. That is the weirdest part of this series. If you told me, oh, the Astros will sweep them, I would have been like, yeah, I can see that. The Astros are a not-so-good team. The Rockies are a not-so-good team. If you would have told me they would have outscored them by, 16 runs in 2 days, not sure I would have believed that. I mean, or 14 runs, pardon me. They lined their shot up, and they blew the Rockies away in back-to-back games. And today was just a derby for the Astros. You had Altuve, Tucker, and Pena all with home runs. You get a couple of RBI out of Yainer Diaz. If I'm not mistaken, you also had, I will double-check this, but I want to say Bregman and Alvarez had a couple of RBIs each. They both had an RBI. Bregman had a particularly good game. Pair of base hits, nothing too shabby out of him. And it's the weirdest phenomena with the Houston Astros right now. Because if you look at the season as a whole, against the teams that are in the playoffs, they've done very poorly. But against the teams that aren't in the playoffs, they've looked like a normal organization. You look at the Washington National Series, and they lost the series, but they won the first game. They lost the second one by a measly one singular run. So, that's a competent game. That's not embarrassing or burn the place down or anything. And yeah, they lost the third game of that series pretty convincingly, but it wasn't terrible. 6-0 isn't great, but that's not again, lighted on fire terrible. If it was 12-0 or something like that, then yeah, it's a different conversation. But 6-0 is yeah, it sucks, but it can happen. And then you have this series where it's against the Rockies, one of the worst teams, and they kill them in back-to-back games. But if you look at the Astros at least in the standings, this should be their normal company. So they don't match up well against the playoff teams, but they kill the bad teams. What does that mean? Hell if I know, but it sure is interesting. How people will joke about players and call them quadruple A guys because they're too good for the minors, but just can't quite cut it in Major League Baseball? That's the Astros right now. They're very clearly not truly amongst the garbage because they've won some series. They've done some competent things. But yet, when you then put them against the top end of those teams, they look like they just learned what baseball was yesterday and were given the bat as they took the field. I don't understand it. This should be the norm. They're a good team. They should just simply be good. But, instead we have the oddity. Again, hopefully. And I saw some comments yesterday of bring it down, ease up there, it's the Rockies, as if I didn't make that exact point throughout the video multiple times yesterday of yeah, I understand it's the Rockies, but you gotta find something good to take away from the series. You have a lot of something goods. Bullpen looked excellent. Today, we'll talk about that in a second. The starting pitching in this series overall looked really, really good. Blanco had a good game. Fromber actually had a pretty darn good game. 5 innings, a 2-run ball. The 2 runs is about okay. Didn't walk anyone, though, and picked up 8 strikeouts. That's a very, very odd game, or 6 strikeouts, pardon me. That's an oddity for Framber Valdez. He's usually going to walk quite a few guys, but get those erased on double plays. Today, he just kind of took care of business. It was a really solid game. Blanco yesterday looked really good. And today, you got to see for the Astros the first true showing of the, idealized bullpen. You had Montero go an inning clean, didn't allow any base runners. You had Abreu come in and pick up a pair of strikeouts. You had Presley come in and get a pair of strikeouts. And you had Hader come in and get a strikeout in the 9th to close it out. That's supposed to be the monster that you had. That is supposed to be it. And Montero having a clean inning is just a nice little added bonus. That is a great thing you can take away from this. You actually got to use the pen the way it was designed. And it worked really well. They pick up 5 strikeouts in 3 innings. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic for the Astros. That is a huge positive you can take away from this series. The bullpen yesterday looked pretty good. It wasn't quite the top end guys, but just something to feel good about. You're needing anything right now. And today, it's, a lot of it's the top end. Altuve with a pair of hits in the RBI. You had Bregman with a pair of hits in the RBI. You had Alvarez with an RBI. I believe that was off of a sac fly. Tucker had a home run with a pair of RBIs. You get Pena with a homer. Yainer Diaz had a couple of hits in this game. Or a hit and a couple of RBIs. Pardon me. You get the top end coming up huge, which is something that you can feel good about, because obviously if the top end doesn't perform, that's a very not good thing. And again, I said yesterday in length that it's the Astros are at their best, obviously, when everyone's getting in on it and it's just these long stretches of hits. But I also think there is validity and meaning when the top guys pick up for the rest of the team, and you can just kind of be like, yes, our stars are in fact stars that deserve to be in that upper echelon. And they definitely picked it up today. That's a very good sight. You leave this series, and granted, I understand that it is against a very, very bottom-tier team in the Colorado Rockies. And usually I would preface that with something else. But the Rockies are bad, and to be quite honest, they should feel bad. Like, that management core has just done no favors. It's just such a clown car out in Colorado. I'm not even going to hesitate to say that. And to the two Rockies fans that exist, I am sorry that I insulted you. I really like Larry Walker. Now you actually have a real challenge. You're about to go now play the Cleveland Guardians, who are a good team, like really good, 19-9. And you're playing it in, pardon me, I thought it was in Cleveland. It will be in Minute Maid Park. The point remains, you're playing a very good Cleveland Guardians team. And what the Astros of yore would do is find a way to build momentum from something that you maybe not should get something from, but still find a way to take momentum from it and build. The way they've dug themselves out of the holes in the past isn't just they go up against some bottom feeder team or some top tier team, beat them and climb out of it. It's you get a good series or you get a really good game out of someone or some watershed event happens and then they can snowball that. This has the makings of it. If the team has the mentality that they've had in the past, they can climb out of it, or at least start to climb out of it. And following up a series where you wiped your feet on the face of the opponent and then come into a series against a really, really good Cleveland team, if you can win that series, then all of a sudden those warm, fuzzy feelings are really starting to build throughout the locker room, and then all of a sudden you can start to see that light at the end of the tunnel because, hey, we can take care of business against bad teams, and hey, we can still hang against good teams. This series against Cleveland could mean a whole heck of a lot for the Houston Astros if they want to begin to dig themselves out of the hole that they very much put themselves in to start this season. The first game is going to be Tuesday evening at 8:10 Eastern, 7:10 Central. The Astros are going to send Hunter Brown to the mound, gulp, and the Cleveland Guardians are going to send Carlos Carrasco to the mound. I will be here afterwards to talk about it, but as for right now, that is all I have to say. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Astros.